Today is Friday, August 26, 2022. It is also day 403 of web development, and today I am going to be back in Spline. I'm going to make a quick 3D model that I can incorporate into my landing page, just like I did yesterday over here. Let me just pull up the result. This is what it ended up looking like. Um, and yeah, so I'll do that today again. So in Spline, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to right click, press X, or cut, and then I'm going to go to the background at the top over here and change that to white. All right, and then I'm going to go over here to the top and add a cube. So I'm going to click on it and just have it appear here. And to move around or to orbit, you just press Alt and you'll be able to see that there. I think I'm going to stick to this view actually. And so I would want, let's see, like I think I'm going to do like stacking cubes. And so I'm just going to do Control D and then just move it upwards and then maybe make it smaller and move it this way and then Control D again, move it upwards, make it smaller and then just move it that way and then downwards. And then I think I'm going to do maybe Control D on this one and then move it towards the right and just downwards here. And so the idea is I'm going to animate them so that they just stack on top of each other at the start. So I'll probably, let's see, I'll start from here and have those be the base states. All right, and then I'm going to have those be the base states, and I'm going to start with the big one. I'm going to go to state and add a state, and then I'm just going to move that so that the actual state that it's going to be in is way below here. And then the event that I want to be triggered is at the start. So if I play it, it should go all the way down. All right, so that's good. And then I should probably move it to base state. And then as for this one, or maybe this one I'll do. This one can start maybe a little bit over here towards the left. And then it could have a state and have it go downwards. So like right about here, right? That would be good. So let's just bring it down a little bit more, kind of like there. All right, and then just a little bit more. Okay, and then now if I go back to base state and I play, let me just have an event over here and that starts it and then that happens. But I want this to have a delay, so I'll click on it and then maybe a delay of 0.2 seconds. There we go. Definitely could fix that, but I'll fix that later. And then I could change it so that the transition is maybe spring for both of them. So that it kind of like springs and it bounces. Not that fast, Jesus. Um, sure, whatever. And then I'll do the same thing for the rest of them. So let me have this go to its state and then move this one just downwards. Oh, actually, let me add a state, move it downwards here. And then an event that triggers that would be the start, and I'll have it spring and have a delay of 0.4. So double that. And then for this one, I think I'm just going to have it start. Let's see which one's, maybe this one starts here, and then I'll give it a state, and then it could go all the way down over here. And an event that triggers that is a start, and then I'll make sure that it springs and has a delay. Actually, it doesn't need to have a delay. So now if I just do that, it's going to end up looking like that. Let me go to colors to get a palette generator. Maybe something like this would be good. So I could do like a dark cube. Let me get out of this view, select this one, scroll down, go to materials, and add the color. Just right here, paste that in there. And then let me get this one also. probably some contrast, something like over here. Paste that color in there, and then maybe a lighter color could go here. Paste that in there, and then lastly, maybe this one could be the lightest color. Paste that in there, and so now if I look at it, it's gonna look something like that. And it's kind of looking a little rigid, so let me fix that a bit. So the way that I'll fix that is just move it up a bit, right, till I see that it's good. And then as for this one itself needs to move a little bit down. And then maybe have this one move a little bit down as well. And then I think that's good. And then let's see, I could have it start maybe rotated instead. So it could be like rotated, right? That looks a little bit better. I'll have this one start maybe rotated also. And then this one also maybe start rotated. This one also start rotated. Oh, no wonder. I was changing the colors of their states. That's interesting, so I could do that also. That's crazy. All right. It's looking like that. Well, maybe I don't even know, maybe like a few more cubes would do. So let me go to base state for all of them. All right, and then just let me grab that color and have that be the same thing or the same color as the base state. So go to color here, paste that in there, have this be the same thing, go to base state, what already is there, and then this one, copy this color, whoops, wrong thing. All right, copy that color, and then go to base state and paste that color in there. All right, let me see now. Why is it still like that? It's so weird. I don't even know what I just did. All right. Let me see. And these ones, if I go to state, select this one, go back into base state, paste that color in there, and everything will be good. All right. And then definitely have this start a little bit higher. All right. And it looks like it's overlapping a bit. That's fine. And then I could also add just a few more cubes. So let me have this all be in actual state. And then I'll have maybe another cube here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh no, that's the right thing. Just a little small cube. Just play around with that, move it towards the blue, or actually have it be upwards. And just kind of have it move this way. Oops, nope, wrong thing. Move this way and kind of towards here. Reset the view, and then I'll have this just kind of drop. So add a state. Let me go to base state, have it rotated a bit, and I'll use the same color that I used here, and have that be the same color for the base state as well. Paste that in there, and then just have it move downwards, and then rotate it this way. Just move downwards a bit. More towards the right, and kind of just like down here. and then rotate it that way. All right. Maybe like that. And then if I play it, oh, I forgot to give it an actual event. So let me add event and then have it transition spring and have it have a delay. Or actually, maybe it doesn't have to have a delay. But I feel like it looks weird if it's just like that. So maybe something like this. I move this one over here also. And then just play around. And I feel like that's okay. Alright, and that's what I'm gonna go for. Just maybe, yeah, that's fine. Just move this a little bit more upwards. And I think things will be okay. Alright. And then now I'm gonna go export and click on embed, and I'm going to go to CodePen and create a landing page. I'm going to click on a new pen. Today is day 403. So I'll do day 403, web dev. All right, so the first thing I always do is doc type HTML so the browser knows I'm writing in HTML5. Then I'll put in my HTML tags and then I'll put in my head tags and my body tags. So head tag is basically for like fonts and just other like um, data data that your computer might need to process the information that you put in the body tags. And the body tags is what you just see on your screen on the left side. So in the body, I'll do div, then I'll do a class and label it container. So this is just going to be a box that's going to be called a container and it's going to contain everything on my site. And so go to CSS and then do dot container because we target classes with dots and then I can use CSS rules now. So one rule that I may want to do is a border the rule maybe can say the border has to be 5 pixels, a solid black line. And that's one CSS rule, which is made up of a property, which is the border, and then the values, which is 5 pixels solid and black. And so I can see my little container at the top, but it doesn't have a height. So I'm going to give it a height of 100 VH, vertical height of the screen for now. And then I see that there's space around the container. So what I'll do is select everything by using the star selector and then zeroing out any margin and padding that comes by default on some browsers. All right, and that gets rid of that. And then I'm also going to set border box, no, box sizing to border box. And what that does is just, let's say I want to put like a padding and assign a padding to a div, instead of making the div bigger, it's going to just shrink the stuff inside and not change the size of the actual div. It just works for responsiveness. All right, so then my site is going to have a header and a showcase. The header is going to contain the logo and the navigation bar, and the showcase is going to contain the 3D model that I made in Spline and the content. So that includes like the H1, the form, whatever. So let me set that up. So again, to things div class header. So that's my first thing. And then the second div would be div class showcase. All right, so now let me just do some spacing here. So the header is going to contain my logo. So I'm going to do div and I'm going to give it an ID of logo. And then the logo is just going to be an H1. So I'll do H1 and call it logo for now. That's a heading one, by the way. And then the next thing that it's going to have is a navigation bar. So I'm going to do a div and give it a class nav bar for navigation bar, and the navigation bar is going to contain a list of my links. And so in order for that to happen, I'll have to do an unordered list. So that's a list without numbers, and each list has a list item, and I want all of my list items to have A tags, which are my links that lead to nowhere. That's what the hashtag is, and it's gonna say link. All right, and I'm just gonna copy and paste that a few times. So let me do that. All right, and I'm going to also give it a class of links so that I don't have to target each individual link and I could just apply any CSS rules that I want to the class, and it's going to apply to any element that has a class of link. All right, and that's it for the header. Now let's move on to the showcase. So the showcase is going to have a div class wrapper, which is going to contain everything inside the showcase. So this is just better for positioning. And then inside the wrapper, again, is going to contain a div class. I'm going to call it content. And then it's also going to contain the iframe. So I'll do div class. I'm going to call it model. So like for 3D model. And then it's going to contain the iframe, which I'm going to get from here. So again, just export, right, and then copy the embedded, and then just paste that right in there. And I'll be able to see some part of it like that. And then I'll go back to the content. So the content is going to be an H1 that's going to say like a heading. Then I'm going to have a paragraph that says something. I'll just change these later. And then I'm going to have a form, and I just want a little input box for someone to put their emails in. So I'll put an input type email, and I'll make sure that the placeholder says email, and the placeholder is basically the text inside the input. So email, that disappears once you start texting. I mean, not texting, but putting stuff inside. All right, and that's it for the HTML. Yeah, that's it. Oh no, one last thing, I need a button, right, to submit. I'll probably do div class, maybe 2 buttons, so I'll do buttons. And then inside here, I'll do an A tag that leads to nowhere, and it's just called button for now. And I'm also going to give it a class of link, right? Just because I want every A tag to have fairly the same properties. And I'm just going to copy this and paste that in there. I'm also going to give it an ID. So I'm going to give this an ID of, I'm going to try something that I tried the other day and didn't work for some reason, but let's see if it works today. I'm going to give this a class called content BTN, so that, because specifically I want these to be slightly different than the actual links in the nav bar. So content BTN. All right, and that's it for my HTML. Now for the CSS, where things get pretty. So first things first, the header. I'm going to give the header a CSS rule, and it's going to say, I want your border to have 5 pixels, and it has to be solid, and it has to be black border. And I'm going to give it a height of 80 pixels. All right, and then what I would want is have a width of 100%. So it's going to be 100% of the width of the container. Let me see if I could just do position relative, and it'll be 100% of the width of the container. All right, and then I'm going to give it a background color, and that background color is going to be, let's see, I think I'm going to do the darker colors, maybe this one. And I'll just paste that in there, and it should appear as that color. Beautiful. All right, and then the next thing would be to actually maybe target the logo so that I could actually see it, change the color to white. And then the nav bar we'll get to in a second. So the first problem that we see is that the logo and the navigation bar are on top of one another, and I want them to be on the same row. So to fix that, I'll go to what contains both the logo and the navigation bar, which is the header, and set that as a flex container. And now that it's a flex, it's a flex, just do display flex. That's how you set it as a flex container. And by default, now it has flex direction, which is a flex property set to row, versus what it was before, which was column. So it just works for me to set that as a display flex, because now everything inside the header, which is the logo and the navigation bar, become flex items, which have to follow the rules of the flex container. And one of them would be that the flex direction would have to be row, so they would have to be in the same row. All right, and then I don't want them to be next to each other, so what I'll do is I'll do justify content space between, so that there's space between the logo and the navigation bar. And then I don't want them to be near the edges, like all of the edges of the screen. So I'll just give this a padding of, let's say, 0 pixels from the top and maybe 50 pixels left and right. and that brings things closer to each other. And then there's also the problem of the navigation bar themselves. I can see that the navigation links are like all on top of each other. So I'll go to my HTML and I'll go and look for where they are. So these are my links and they are inside the UL. So I should make the UL a flex container. So I'll do navbar UL, and the way that I'm targeting is by hierarchy. So I know that the UL is inside the navbar, so then I'll do just navbar and then UL, and then I'll give it a display of flex, and then that should, again, by default, have flex direction set to row, so all of the flex items go into the same row. And then I'll do gap to EM, which is equivalent to about 32 pixels, I believe. And that gives some spacing in between the flex items. To get rid of the bullet points, that's a list style property, so I'll do dot, not list style, I mean list item, navbar ul li, and again, that's the same hierarchy. I have the navigation bar, the ul, and then the li, so it's kind of like a tree, right? And then I'll just set list style to none because currently right now it's set to have a bullet points, and that just removes the bullet points. And then to remove the underline and to change the color, that's actually an a tag property. So instead of doing nav bar ULLIA, I could just simply do dot link because I gave all of the a tags a class of link. So I could do color and change that to white so I could finally see that. I probably should have done that in the beginning, and then get rid of the text decoration, which right now is set to underline, just set that to none, and that works out that way. Now you might be wondering, why are all the links all the way at the top? How do we get them towards the center? Well, that has to do with the positioning of the UL. So if I go here and give the UL a border of 5 pixels, white solid, I'll be able to see the UL. And if I give the nav bar also a border, I'll be able to see the positioning of the UL within the nav bar. Let me just change that to something like yellow. All right, so you can clearly see the navigation bar is the yellow box, and then the UL, the under the list, is the white box. And I need the UL to be centered. And so how do I do this? Well, I just make the navigation bar a flex container, display flex, and then I can do align item center, which is going to center my items vertically, right? While justify content centers it horizontally. And so that fixes that problem. And then there's also the same thing happening with the logo. If I go to the top and I give it a border of, let's say, 5 pixels, white solid, I'll be able to see that the logo is all the way at the top. So to fix this, I'll just do display flex and then just do align items center, and that should center it, or just move it downwards, right, towards the center. So that's good, right? Beautiful. And then the next thing, that's just it for the header. I'm going to move on to the showcase. So I'll go down here and then I'll do dot showcase. And then let me just scroll here. So this is my showcase, right? So I'm going to just give it a border, 5 pixels, let's say green solid. So that's my showcase. I should give it a height of 100% of the screen, right? And probably give it a width of 100% of the screen as well. Let me save that and see what that ends up looking like in debug mode. All right, so that's what it's ending up looking like at the moment. And then the showcase has nothing but the wrapper. So the wrapper, I'll go ahead and give it a border as well. So I'll go and just copy this and change this to wrapper. So it has, let's say, maybe a red solid border. And then it has a height of 100% and a width of 100%. So what I want now is to go even further and do the same thing for the content and do the same thing for the model, which holds the Spline logo. So, oh, hold up, let me fix that. So let's do like purple, and let's do, what's another color? Brown. All right, so then that's that. So here's another problem. I see that the purple and the brown boxes are on top of one another, and I want them to be, again, in the same row. So what do? I see where the purple and the brown box are contained in, and that's going to end up being the wrapper, right? Because the purple and the brown box is the model and the content, which are both inside the wrapper. So I'll go to the wrapper and I'll give that a display of flex, and by default, it's going to move all of its flex items, which includes the model and the content, to be next to the same row, which is pretty cool. All right, so now we have that happening here. And then why is this thing? Oh, okay, that's just, let me save that real quick and reload. Save that, save it before, and then reload. All right, so that's what's currently going on right now. I see my animation. Pretty nice. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the content and give that a display of flex so that the content itself could be in the middle of the of the of its container. But when I give it display of flex, again, we know that the flex direction is set to row, so I'm gonna have to overwrite that so that it goes back to being on top of one another, all of the flex items, by setting the flex direction to column. All right, and then I'll do justify content center, which should move the things horizontally, and then align. Actually, I'm going to keep it like that. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the dot content h1 and give that a font size of 10 vertical minimum. So the vertical minimum in that case. And then I'll do the same thing for the paragraph. And let's see, so P, and that should probably be half of that, so like 5. And then the input itself has that type of font size. There we go. And then I wonder where the buttons are. I don't see the buttons. Oh, it's because they're right there, but they're white. So that's where this comes in, the dot content btn. I can just give it a background of, let's say, that color from the beginning, which I can't find at the moment, so that's great. The header, this one over here, perfect. Give that background, and I'll be able to see that in a few seconds, and then give it a color of black. Oh, did it not work again? It didn't work last time. Content BTN. Oh, I know. Hold up, let me fix this. I can add it within the quotation marks here. Content BTN. Content BTN. Forgot about that. All right, so that works out that way, and then I can see the color, have it be white. I think by default it's already white, so we don't need that. And then I can give it a padding. Actually, I'll do this within the links. So let me go here, and that's gonna work with everything. So um, here I'll give it a background of white. Whoops. Those are the navigation bars ones. And then I'll change the color to black. So then later, now I would have to go down here and change the color of these to white, right? Because it needs to be overwritten. And then I'll do padding, 10 pixels, top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right. And that fixes that for me. And then, yep, that's really it. And then maybe like a hover effect. So when I hover over the links, I want the background to change to like a slight gray color, so E6 times. But I don't want that happening here in the last two buttons, and so I'll go here and add its own hover animation or hover state. So when the content BTNs are in the hover state, their background can change to, let's say, I don't know, it's already like a darker color enough. So let me go to here and then the shader and just get it like 2 shades darker and copy that, and then go back here and just paste that as a background. And when I hover over it, it should become slightly darker. All right, so let's work with the content a little bit more. Let me give it a not a paragraph, what am I saying? A border? Not the, wait. Oh yeah, actually, instead of doing that, let me go and do margin bottom so that there's space between the H1 and the actual paragraph. So margin bottom maybe 15 pixels. Actually, let me do 20 pixels. So that's a lot right there. Same thing for the paragraph. Same thing for the input. So we'll do that. So there's spacing there. And then for some reason, I don't know why the buttons are acting that way. So let me do buttons, which is the class that holds the button. Give that a border of 5 pixels. Let's do red solid. All right, so let me do margin from the top 20 pixels. There we go, to move it down a bit. And then I'll definitely have this set as width 100%, even though it already is. And then I'll give it a display of flex, so that fixes that. And then I'll give it a gap of 1 EM, so there's space between the flex items, which are both of the buttons. And then I'll go to the buttons individually and give them each a width of 50%. There we go. And then I'll also do text align center so that their text is aligned in the center. All right, and then that works that way, which is pretty cool. Yeah. All right, and then let's see, what else do I want to do? So let me start with the actual heading and blah, blah, blah. So I think I'm just going to do something maybe like preschool based, like um, get new building blocks. I don't know. Or maybe, where's my heading? Okay, over here. So let me think of something like retrieve, no, get the building blocks you need for your child's education. Does that make sense? Get the correct building blocks. Or maybe like, we have the correct building blocks for your, that doesn't even make sense. We have get the roadmap to success for your child's education. Roadmap to success. So how do you spell success? For your child's education. Enter your email for the free roadmap. Enter your email for the free roadmap, or explore our other resources. Something like that. All right, and that kind of makes things a little harder to go back to. So now let me just go to content H1, maybe have this be, I don't know, 8. So it's like a little less than that, and then have this be 3, something like that. The input itself, I should probably give it a width of 100% so that it extends. All right, and then let's see, with 100%, is that the input or the form? Let me give it a border, 5 pixels, blue solid. So I'm not sure why that's not working. Is it because I have to do the form? Let me do, oh my God, it's not working because it's an element, not a class. There we go. So let me fix that like a lot. So let me do 3. All right, that works. Or maybe I could do 2. Nope, 3 is good. And that works that way. Let me save it, see what that's looking like. So we have that going on for us. All right, I could probably give it a height of 30 pixels, maybe 40 pixels. All right, save that, see if that looks a little bit better. Did it just shrink? Oops. 50 pixels and then reload. Okay, so that's that. And then for the input itself, I could also target the input. So let me just scroll down. I don't know why it went all the way to the top. Um, where did it go? Okay, input. So to target the placeholder, I could just do double colons and then just give the placeholder maybe some, or actually it's no, hold up. I could just do padding from the left and then do like 20 pixels and that should move the placeholder to the right. There we go. And maybe not too much, maybe 10 pixels. All right, something like that would be good. So I don't really need to target this. Um, there we go. I could probably, no, it's fine. All right, and then let's see. I can go to the H1, give that a certain width of maybe 400 pixels, see what that looks like. Oh, nope, never mind. How about 600 pixels? Okay, nope, nope, nope. 700? I just feel like it's like off. Hmm. I could do 700 or maybe no width. I don't know. All right, and then for the wrapper itself, I could do margin 50 pixels, have that in the center that way, kind of. Um, let's see, or maybe not. So I could do margin 50 pixels or I could do padding 50 pixels, and that would move things a little bit better that way. Beautiful. Okay, that's perfect. Um, get the roadmap to success. That's not how you spell. Oh my God. How do you spell success? Let me go back to my HTML and get the paste that in there. All right, get the roadmap to success for your child's education. Enter your email for the free roadmap or explore other resources, and then email, and then let me go to the buttons and change what that says. So this one might say explore, and then this one might say submit or like get roadmap. All right, and then I could definitely change the font size for those as well. So I can go towards, let's see, content BTN and change that font size to be 3 vertical minimum. There we go, much better. That's way better. And then, yep, I think that's good. And then the logo itself could also have something. So font size, let's say 4 vertical minimum. Just play around until, okay, 3, 2. There we go. All right, that's good. And then, yeah, I think that's fine. And if I reload this, it should, its animation should happen. All right, it's not the best, but whatever. Get the roadmap to success for your child's education. Enter your email for the free roadmap or explore our other resources. Sure. And then we could do maybe to the wrapper, I can give it a gap of 2 EM so that there's spacing there. And then I think that's it. All right. And then as for the responsiveness, I could definitely do flex wrap for the wrapper. So hopefully that works today, because yesterday I took like 5 hours trying to figure out, oh, beautiful, it works. Amazing. All right, so if I do that, we reload. Okay, it doesn't work. Whoa, what just happened? It works here. Why doesn't it work here? See? The same thing. All right, what if I just give the two things, which is like the content flex spaces of like 1000 pixels and the same thing for the model, which is somewhere down here. There we go. But then I don't want that to happen at that point. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the content and I'll just say, I'll just put an immediate query. So once it reaches like a certain point, like let's say once it reaches media max width, let me figure out what that max width should be. I could just open it up here in developer tools, Control Shift I, and then kind of figure out what width is, whoops, okay, that I need to have before it starts becoming unresponsive. And it's looking to be about 1012 pixels. So once it hits 1012 pixels, then I want the wrapper to have flex wrap of wraps so that the flex items wrap around each other, and then the content to have a flex basis. I don't know, I'm just putting a random, like not a random number, but like a really big number for it. Because apparently it works. Do I know why it works? Nope, but I'll figure it out one day, just not today. Dot content, and then what's the other one? The model. All right, and then if I do this and I do this, then now it works, which is really beautiful. And then I'm trying to figure out for the height of this, of the container, if I do min content, it's gonna mess things up. Yep. So I probably would need to just have everything responsive. I would probably have to give the content a certain height. So instead of 100%, I'll do, well, let's see, like 50 vertical minimum. It's gonna be the same thing. How about 100? There we go. And then I could do the same thing for the model, which is down here. Nope, nope, this one over here. And have that be that way. And now it's like really responsive, which is really, really amazing. Okay, so that's something new I tried today. I haven't done like, um, giving the content an actual height and width. Okay, and then I think that's it. Oh, the links. So let me go back to my HTML, change those. So I'll change this first one to be home, maybe this one to be like about, um, or I could be like roadmap, and then this one could be like tools, and then this one can be contact, and then the last thing, or maybe not the last thing, I don't know, is to give them fonts. So I'll go to Google Font. Wrong thing. Google Fonts, okay, and then get Lado. So just search it up, add the regular 400, Roboto Slab, and then I'm just gonna copy this link and I'm going to go to my HTML, my head tags is where my head tags come in. I'm going to paste that in there. And basically that's just citing your sources. So I say this in every video, but just pretend, just remember back in, like in high school when your teacher, um, is asking like, where did you get this information from in your essay? And you're like, well, I cited it. So that's where I got my information from. So it's same thing, like CSS is looking for where you got that font from. And then it knows where you got the font from because you cited it here in your head tag. So yeah, so then I'm just going to go and use the font for Lado and then go to my CodePen and go to the link tags and just paste that in there so that all of the links have the same font. So you'll see now if I reload, they change the font right there. Beautiful. And then I'll do the same thing for Roboto Slab. I'll copy that font family rule and just change that to be the content um, font family. So that should change things that way, which is pretty nice. There we go. And then get the roadmap to success for your child's education. Enter your email for the free roadmap or explore other resources, email, explore get roadmap. And then let me go ahead and get rid of all the borders now because, oh, the logo I forgot to do. So the logo, what is it? I always have trouble with the logos. I think I'm going to say block IQ, something like that, like road, like, like building blocks for education or something. I don't know. And then maybe also I believe give that logo that font also. That could work. That it doesn't have a font right now. There we go. So that's looking like that. Now I can get rid of all the borders here. So get rid of the container border, the header border, the border for the logo itself, the navigation border, navbar UL, the border for the showcase, the border for the wrapper, for the content, for the what else? The input, the buttons, and I think that's it, right? No, the model. And now if I reload, this is kind of my final results. I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking. I'm definitely going to just move this maybe a little bit more towards the top, right? So in order to do that, let me go to the wrapper and I'll go and give it, let's say, a padding from the bottom of maybe 100 pixels. So it moves towards the top. Oops, let me get rid of that S there. Oh, it's because it's, okay, let me put that below this. Right, so now it's overwritten. All right, how about 200? Huh, Interesting. Let me give it a border, of course. 5 pixels, red solid, so I can see what's going on. I feel like nothing works if I don't have a border. All right. Oh, because the wrapper's already. Huh. Get rid of that. Interesting. I wonder. Okay, so maybe instead of the wrapper, let me focus on the content. Right, so then the content I can give padding from the bottom, 50 pixels. Beautiful. And then I think that works. Maybe just a little bit more. Did I say 80 pixels? What's going on? All right, there we go. And then, let's see, let me get rid of the border and then see if I want to move it towards the right. I do want to move it towards the right. So what I'll do is, I'll take the wrapper and let's see, maybe I don't want that gap. I'll take the wrapper and give it padding. I don't even think the padding is working for this. 100 pixels, and then make sure that's at the bottom so it overwrites the padding of 50 pixels. There we go, beautiful. Um, okay, definitely a little bit more to the top, so that's gonna end up being like 180 or something. Oh, did I do? Okay, 180 pixels. There we go, that works out. And then the last thing is maybe moving the navigation bar and the block IQ to be aligned. So the logo, well, actually the header. So the header, I can give it a padding. Um, let's do padding left, 100 pixels until it's aligned right there, beautiful. And then I'll do padding right. Let me just zero out the padding for the header here because I want it to stay the same as it is now as long as it's like um I think it's 50 pixels, right? So it stays the same there, but then I'm going to overwrite it here while it's like in normal form. So that's going to end up looking something like, if I could ever find it, where is it? Where is it? Okay, here, padding right, just moving the nav bar towards the right, so I mean towards the left, so that it or more so that it aligns with the 3D model. So definitely more than that. So how about 150 pixels? Oh my god, no, what is going on? 50 pixels. There we go. Something like that maybe. Oops. So I think that works out. And yeah, that's the final result for today. I don't know if I want to get rid of Hmm. I think I'm gonna do just a quick change. Instead of the Explorer having that background, I'm going to go and give it an ID because I want to change it a bit, change its style. If I could ever find it, I can never find my stuff. All right, give this an ID of just Explorer. Oh my God. If there's another thing I can't do is spell correctly. All right, ID Explorer. And then I'll go here and just give it its own thing at the end over here. So I'll do hashtag explore because it's an ID, so hashtag. Gets rid of its background and just have it have a border of 5 pixels, well, let's say 3 pixels, um, solid, and then have it be that color, the same color as the header background. So I'll go ahead and paste that in there. And let's just see that, and then have the color of the actual text be black. There we go, explore. And that works out that way. And then what I'll do is when I hover over the Explorer, when it's on a hover state, I may want its border to just get a little bigger, like 5 pixels solid, and then have that same color there. So now that works really well. Or maybe I want it to be like that. Maybe I'll switch it to maybe 8 and then have the original be 5 pixels. Oops. Why is it doing that? Let me just copy that. Are you serious right now? Okay, paste that in there. Save, reload. Alright. Or maybe do I prefer the other one? And I noticed that the reason it's like everything is going up when that happens is because of the margin. Like, yeah. So that's one thing to fix. But everything else is okay. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I just don't like, maybe it's way too thick. Maybe I'll just do like 7. Not again. Let's do 7 pixels. Delete that, save, reload. Or maybe just 6. Honestly, I don't know. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, I'm just gonna stop now. All right, and that's it for today. This is a landing page and it is responsive. As much as it can be, you know, and then I have the 3D model that I can move around, be made in Spline, and then I also have it if I reload the page, the animation starts and it's kind of like building blocks, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's it for today. Bye.